Think you know how to buy plants? Well, let's take it up a notch. Today, I'm going to be sharing some more intermediate to advanced tips to help you buy like an absolute pro.
So whether you've got a growing jungle or you just love a good challenge, these tips will help you shop smarter.
Making sure that that plant that you buy is going to thrive and not just survive in your house. So let's get straight into it. And my very first tip actually is right here. We are at Newtown Garden Markets here in New South Wales, Australia. The reason we're here is because the first tip
Is to start moving from big box bargains and expand your plant purchases
to buy from a nursery. These guys know what they're doing. It is their absolute livelihood. And the plants are always going to be beautiful and healthy. So the likelihood of you buying a plant that will last longer is a lot higher than if you buy it from a big box store.
Plus, if you're worried about paying a little more, don't, because these prices are really very competitive, more than you probably realize.
So make sure you do look at the health of the plant versus the cost that you're buying. I guarantee it may only be $1 or $2 more. And
Many shops
do price matches anyway. So buy at a local nursery, help the people locally, and buy beautiful plants while you're there. Okay, tip number 2, and I am really excited to share this with you. It's probably my favorite out of the whole thing today, and that is buy on stock fulfillment day. Look at it, look at it, look at it. All this new stuff. So cool. And by the way, I'm going to have a lot of tips in this video, so you might want to grab a pen and paper and write some down or just put some notes on your phone. Just a warning, there's a lot to go through in this video. Even if it's from a big box store, you want to go to a nursery or a plant store that is absolutely full of plants to get a better bang for your buck. A lot of people who know their plants do
this all the time.
So ask the people who work there, when are the plants delivered and what time? And then you can go in and grab the perfect plant.
Shopping after delivery really ensures that you're picking from the healthiest, most beautiful plants.
I know a guy on social media who always shops on plant delivery day, and because he's the first in the batch, he always seems to find like those rare finds, the ones with a little bit of variegation, and they are stunning. And it's just because he's there on delivery day and he gets the first of the batch. So there's definitely advantages to buying on delivery day. And another tip about a nursery is while you're here, get to know the people who work here. If you have one plant store that you absolutely love going to, talk to the people that work here.
And build a relationship with the nursery staff. They can give you insider tips on delivery days and alert you when rare plants are arriving. A friendly relationship, honestly, can mean such good insider knowledge on the best plants.
They can tell you when the plants are arriving. They can perhaps even maybe hold some plants for you as well. So really get to know the people who work in that beautiful nursery of yours.
Tip number 2 is to continue to master the basics, but with a pro twist. The first thing is you obviously want to check the plant for signs of pest and root rot, etc. So if possible, make sure you are feeling the soil, make sure the soil is really right, it's damp, it's not soaked. But even for larger plants, see if you can glimpse the roots, like literally push it to the side and look under. Don't be afraid to, really move all the big plants and the small plants around and look for signs of rot or overcrowding. Even if you've got like a tiny little small flashlight on the bottom of your keychain or something, use that, or even the light on your phone, use that to see if you can see the roots a bit better, because it can be dark and if it's just been watered, it can be hard to see. So use your phone light to help you look at the roots. So you also know that you need to check for pests. So obviously look under the leaves, look around the soil, look at the plant, but really do take your time. If you really know your plants well, pests can be actually quite hard to spot. So you really do want to look very, very closely. Pro tip, don't just check for pests on your specific plant, look at its neighbors. If they're struggling, your plant might have some little pesky hidden hitchhikers of some sort. And if you know pests, they can multiply very quickly over a big bunch of plants. So have a look at the plants around as well as just the plant that you're looking at for pests. And then finally, a little bit of a pro twist is when you are looking at that plant, evaluate the growth patterns. Look for a nice, balanced, symmetrical growth pattern. Make sure the part between the nodes isn't leggy, and make sure you have a strong plant structure, especially where the soil meets the stem. If that is a little bit like droopy or floppy, probably not the best plant to go with. See if you can find another one. Another really good sign of great health for a plant is new growth. So anything with fresh leaves and buds are actively growing, and that's a great sign of a beautiful, healthy plant. And then I know we've said check for pests, check for plants around, but look just beyond the plants. Evaluate the conditions of the store. Sometimes the environment just tells you a lot more about the plant itself. Just have a look how the store treats the stuff, which is why, again, going back to tip 1, going with nurseries is just a really good idea. And speaking of nurseries, final tip for here for mastering the basics is speak to the staff. Honestly, a lot of the times nursery staff or plant staff who know what they're talking about know which plants have just arrived and know which are the healthiest plants. So just talk to the staff, be friendly and ask them questions and find out which ones are the really good plants to buy. Area number 3 is to avoid the pitfalls of impulse buying. And I know we've all been there, but impulse buying in a lot of cases can do more harm than good in some ways. Instead of going just for impulse, try to match the plant with your routine.
If you're new to plants, then you may want to watch this video here. It's the first in this series, and it's where I just explain some beginner tips tips that'll help you shop the most amazing plants if you're starting out on your plant journey.
In that video, I did talk a lot about matching the plant to your lifestyle and your routine. For example, growing a tropical plant that just loves high humidity with a desert succulent that thrives in dry conditions just makes it hard to meet the needs of both plants in your house. And honestly, if you are tempted by something different, just make sure that your home's needs are covering. So for example, if you've got all succulents and you start going for tropical plants, buy a humidity machine. Honestly, just really think about your house, your home, the needs of the plant, and make sure they match accordingly. Obviously, if you're growing your jungle a lot more, you also start to understand the plant varieties. So just do make sure you've researched them beforehand. If something is new or different to what you've already got, just check if it's hardy or high maintenance. For example, if you start adding Hoyas, they are slow, but they are forgiving. Or a fiddle leaf fig, everybody loves a fiddle leaf fig, but these guys can be drama queens. So if you haven't bought them before and you want to expand your horizons, go for it. You'll learn a lot, but just do research the plant varieties beforehand and make sure your home can fit it accordingly. And then something that I just need to tell myself all the time, this is one for me really, is to be realistic about the space in your house. I always just think that I can add another shelf or I can just squeeze another plant onto each shelf, but sometimes that's not true. So ask yourself, are you bringing the plant home for a space that you truly have, or will it just end up on the floor while you figure it all out? I can tell you right now, I do that quite a bit. For example, I really want some of these all new Monsteras that are coming, they're just being grown recently over in 24, 25, but I'm not going to buy a Monstera because I just don't have a corner space for it. And honestly, those leaves, those plants demand attention and they demand space. And I probably will stay away from it until perhaps I buy a new house. Two more in this area. Try to avoid seasonal gimmicks. Look, we've just gone through Christmas and those cute poinsettias may not make it past January. They're beautiful, but they are so hard to look after. And do you really want a short-term fling with a plant? Do you really want to waste your money? It's up to you. If you're not sure, just resist seasonal gimmicks. And don't forget the beginner traps. When you start getting more intermediate and more advanced, you think that things are all flowing smoothly, but still some of the basics can catch you out. So, are you ready for more calatheas? Are you ready to try maidenhair ferns? Are you ready for perhaps adding a begonia? If you're good at begonias, I'd love some tips, by the way, so please do add them in. But just don't forget the beginner traps. It's very easy to do. Okay, area number 4. Let's talk about discount plants and rescue plants, because I know that there's a lot of you out there with a heart of gold and you love rescuing plants, but there are some tips in this area as well. So look, discounted plants often have hidden issues. We all know this. There's pests and diseases. That sad pothos in the clearance section might tug at your heartstrings, but if it's bringing spider mites into your home, it's honestly not worth it. So unless you're confident in quarantining and reviving a rescue plant, it might do more harm than good. But look, if you do love rescuing plants and you want to go and buy a rescue, just look for signs that are easier to manage. Maybe they're fixable. So for example, slight dehydration or just a few damaged leaves is a lot easier and fixable compared to something like root rot or pest infestations. So see if you can find a rescue plant that just needs a little bit more easy care than the harder care and trying to bring it back from the dead. And then just know when to walk away. Sounds easy, but it's hard to do. But just assess whether that plant is worth the investment and time and care from you. If it feels like a risky bet, honestly, trust your gut and move on. Don't take that plant home. Okay, area number 4 is just some pro-level strategies for smart plant buying overall. If you haven't already, you might want to start creating a wish list. This will help you stay a little bit more strategic to buy the plants you actually want and not spend so money on the plants that you don't. I have a wish list. I use Notion and I use pictures and everything. I absolutely love my wish list and I have a look at it and I update it. And not only does it help me keep track of the plants I want, it also helps me keep track of the needs of that plant as well. So just have a wish list, and if it's not on a wish list, and especially if you're trying to save money like I am right now, just think twice before adding it to your cart. Another really good tip, I love this tip, I do it for almost everything. Apply the 24-hour rule. So if you see a product, wait a whole day. I know it's hard, but wait a whole day. And then if you're still thinking about that plant 24 hours later, then go ahead and buy it, because I know you'll absolutely love it. That's exactly what I do.
And in some cases, you might actually forget about it.
Then it's probably not the right thing to buy. Apply the 24-hour rule for impulse purchases. It's a huge lifesaver.
And it really does make you think whether you want that plant or not.
A couple of more things to add here for smart plant buying. Shop seasonally. You probably know this already, but if you don't, just a reminder that plants are often the healthiest when bought in their active growing season. So tropical plants are much more active and much more beautiful in spring and summer, and avoid buying those plants in winter unless you're ready to provide extra care. And then finally, especially if you're much more intermediate and advanced, focus on plants with unique growth patterns and something that you've really been looking for in your wish list versus the latest Instagram trend. I must admit, I do have a plant right now where I think I bought it mostly on trend. It's a small Monstera mint, and it's just not the best plant, and I'm not really enjoying it. I'm going to keep going, but oh well, you win some, you lose some, but you definitely learn from everything.
And then just like in the first video where I did also offer some bonus tips around online shopping, I want to do the same thing for this video, just a little bit more intermediate or advanced thinking. The first one really is, if you're going for a rare plant, really do make sure that you're verifying the seller's reputation documentation. Look for reviews that mention their packaging, their customer service. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I always go with the same two sellers, especially for my rare plants, which is Flora Magnifica and Growing Grounds, and they are honestly the best in terms of service and product quality for my more higher end, higher cost plants. In the beginner video, I did actually mention that the photos should not be stock image, or they shouldn't be a little bit clickbaity. That's probably not the right word, but you want to make sure that the photos are the real plants that you're buying. Again, Flora Magnifica and Growing Grounds do this amazingly well. Don't be afraid to ask for photos of the specific plant or plants just to make sure you know what you're getting. They may be a little bit busy, don't get me wrong, but often a lot of sellers, especially online, if they're really good quality sellers, will send you a photo of the plant or the lot of plants that they're offering in their online shop. So really worth doing. Also, you might want to consider a few specialized growers or specialized retailers out there, especially around something like orchids or cacti or bonsai. There's quite a lot of sellers out there that really do specialize in certain types of plants. And of course, you really make sure that you get a good quality plant through a specialized retailer because, again, they know what they're talking about. You might also want to consider wholesale options. Look, wholesale options obviously sell wholesale plants. There's quite a lot of wholesale plant sellers out there that don't sell to individuals, but some do. And you might even want to think about, you know, going in with family or friends, buying 5 or 10 or 15 of them, and then you can buy in a group. And sometimes when there is a minimum order quantity, if you go around with friends, you might be able to meet that minimum order quantity. It's not everywhere, I'll admit, but many of the plant sellers actually cater to individuals if you meet that minimum order.
Okay, we've done our plant shopping, we've got our plants. Now is the crucial step that we have to do. We have to take them home and help them thrive in a new environment in our house. That is probably going to be the hardest part of this whole plant journey, to be honest, is once you've got some really healthy plants, you need to keep them healthy over the next 2 weeks. And that is a whole nother video in itself. So you're going to go straight to this one next. Have a week full of leaves, love and laughter, and I will see you in this video at home. See you later. Bye. Versus the cost. That's a truck. It's 35 degrees today. Okay, air conditioner, thank you. Ooh, it's hot. Ah.